A ruthless Birmingham crime family do not take kindly to the toughest white man on the planet, Dubliner Joe Egan, opening a pub on their turf and not paying his dues. The violent fallout is like a scene from your worst nightmare. There was no trouble from 19th of July to the following Sunday, 26th of July, when I got a phone call to say that these gangs are gathering in the Yenton and the Norton pubs. Tommy, my business partner, ex-French Foreign Legion, Medal of Honor winner, he won the Croix de Guerre, is a Belfast man, and he's grown up in war because the Northern Ireland situation was a war. He was ex-martial arts expert, ex-boxing champion, a proper hard man, conditioned hard, trained hard, still to this day in his 40s, super fit, super strong. He was pensioned off from the French Foreign Legion because he got malaria. He said to me, "Let's bring it to them. If they want trouble, let's bring it to them." I said, "Tommy, I'm a businessman." I'd not gone soft, but my boxing career was over for me. This was my second career. I've got business opportunities. I didn't want this one to be over for me too. We're running a good pub. We're making good money. We're making great money. Let the police take care of it. So Tommy says, "Okay." So I phoned the police sergeant and told him, "I've had a phone call. These gangs are gathering in the Yenton and the Norton. They're going to attack my pub." He said, "I'm on my way to you. The Yenton is up the road, 400 yards from my pub. The man that ran the pub was a friend of mine, Mickey King. Jake Welsh was running the doors there and in a number of pubs in the area as part of the protection and the racketeering." Lo and behold, the sergeant says, "I'm on my way to you. I'm going to radio the station, get them to send men to these pubs to physically walk through the pub to disperse any gangs that are gathering." These were the sergeant's words to me. As he's on his way to me, he got a radio call and they sent him to a Mickey Mouse alarm call in the Bromford. Mine was a genuine distress call. It turned out that the armed response unit was ready from 2 o'clock that day. They knew there was men coming to my pub with guns, but what did they care? It's a group of black men and a group of paddies, there for the slaughter by the racist thugs. On that particular day, 26th of July, 1998, we had a communion going on in the function room. Father Thomas Malloy, who was the priest that was attached to the Abbey Church, which was on the same stretch of road as the Lyndhurst, used to bring us up business to the pub. He encouraged parishioners in his chapel to bring their business to the pub. Communions, weddings, funerals. He was a Belfast priest and he had done Tommy's communion 30 years before in Northern Ireland. So he had a double reason to bring us business. Not because the church was next door to the pub, but also because the man that owned the pub was a family friend. That particular day, communion had been booked months in advance. Now we were aware something was going to happen on the day, and I actually encouraged the family to cancel. But they said, if we're going to make a stand, they were going to make a stand by having their function at the pub. The community spirit was that strong. In the pub that day, there were families, young children, old men, old women. Family pub, packed to the rafters. I also had a few friends inside, ex-boxers. These men were about to put their life on the line for me. When the gangs eventually get onto the car park, there are 37 of them armed with a handgun, a shotgun, hatchets, and machetes. I'm in the office making my second call to the police. The pub has 16 security cameras, and the monitor can show pictures from all 16, or 8, or 4, or only one. It's showing the 4 main ones: the car park, the inside foyer, the lounge, and the bar. I can see the armed gang gathering in the car park around the area of the cabbie rank. They're starting to throw glasses. Many of them have masks and scarves around their faces and various weapons: clubs, sticks, machetes, baseball bats. With his army swarming behind him, Jake Welsh approaches the double front doors, one of which is open. He takes out a silver 32 caliber handgun and starts firing rapidly at the doors. He's wearing no mask or gloves. After 3 shots, the gun jams. He makes several attempts to fire it, then throws it down to the ground. People are panicking and screaming and ducking. I'm coming out of the office inside and heading towards the front foyer. Unknown to me, one of his men has now handed Jake Welsh an even deadlier weapon. Jake Welsh, no mask, steps up to the open doorway, up to my door with a shotgun. As I rounded the corner from the office, I saw him entering the bar directly in front of me with a gun levelled. I stepped back immediately behind the wall, pressed back against it, and crossed myself. I'm not ashamed to say I was afraid. As he stepped into the bar, a good friend of mine, Steve Dalton, an ex-boxer, ran out from the bar screaming, "Ah!" Jake Welsh looked shocked. The last thing you expect any man to do is to run against a gun. He pointed the gun half down and let rip the first shot. Some of the pellets hit the ground, and some of them came up and caught this guy in the legs and arms. He didn't take the full force of the shotgun, but the ricochets are catching him. At this stage, Jake Welsh is panicked because whether his intentions were to wound or whatever, his intentions weren't to do somebody else. His intentions were to do me. At the time, I didn't realise this, but I know it now. Remember, I phoned the police, who are well aware that this attack is happening. In court later, it was established there were 4 phone calls that I made begging for help. As I'm looking at my wounded friend, an old man, a guy called Jim O'Brien, steps out with his hands up. Jim's from Limerick, a good customer, and I'd built up a friendship with him. He also lived next door to the Darcy family all their lives. His children had played with their kids, grown up with them. His daughter was living in one of the Darcy apartments. John Darcy's girlfriend was sharing an apartment with Jim's daughter. So Jim O'Brien steps out with his hands up. Please, I can stop this. I know these boys. At this point, I step out from behind the wall to pull the old man in behind the wall. Jake Welsh raises the shotgun now for the second shot. I've looked into many men's eyes over the years from boxing and from rows. I've looked into their eyes, but I've never looked into a man's eyes with pure evil. I mean, pure evil like you could not imagine. And he let rip with the second shot. He blasted that old man to get to me. I was standing behind the old man, and he didn't care. This is an old man who he knew. He blasted the old man in the hip, blew the hip clean out of him. He fell into my arms. Some of the pellets hit around my arms, and a shotgun pellet punctured my nose. A few all over my body. So I've got the old man now in my arms, and he's splattered all over my foyer, bits of flesh and whatever else. He's took a bad blast. The moment the second shell from the shotgun was gone, the lads that were in the bar and the lounge ran out. I put the old man down to be attended to in my lounge by the bar staff and a couple of my customers. And I go outside and there's a scene in my car park. Right across as far as the eye can see, there's a battle going on. There's a guy cornered and he turns round with his hatchet and he goes, "Come on." And one of them sticks the hatchet into his chest. He drops his weapon and he's shaking now. So he's grabbed by the hair. He's pulled down and this guy's trying to chop his head off. And he's going to his face saying, "Stay still." He's getting chopped to bits. Another guy with a bayonet standing beside this person saying, "Geez, you're going to kill him." This person turns to this other guy, "Get another one." This guy that was chopped to bits underneath the tree in the car park had to be brought back to life in my car park. His life was saved in hospital. There was a load of the other gang too badly wounded. George Darcy, aka Fat Darcy, was trying to climb a wall and he was pulling his friends down as he was trying to climb the wall. These are guys that have stood beside him. He was grabbed by the hair and his throat was cut. Across the road, there were a couple of guys running. Another couple of lads corner this guy, Robert Darcy, who was an animal. He runs into a dead-end lane and turns. A couple of guys that are chasing him have no weapons. He's got the machetes. One decks him with a punch. As he hits the deck, a couple of the lads with the weapons jump on top of him, and they slice the living daylights out of him. It was a bad, bad scene. There was bits of limbs, bodies everywhere. On a Sunday afternoon, there was a 25-minute pitch battle. The newspapers said it made Braveheart look like a Walt Disney movie. I made my third call to the police for help. The ambulances and the police eventually arrived. After a 25-minute pitch battle, 55 minutes in all after the first distress call. They'd had an armed response unit ready from 2 o'clock that day. They knew there was men coming to my pub with guns, and the police station's not 400 yards from the pub. You could walk it 50 times in 55 minutes. Some of the lads that stood and defended the pub with me got showered, freshened up, and were gone before the police arrived. Because he's my head doorman, Danny stayed watching the pub while I had to go to hospital with the old man that's wounded pretty bad, and for my own wounds as well. We got to the hospital in the ambulance. There was a number of ambulances taking bits and bodies away. So that was an extract from Joe Egan's book, The Toughest White Man on the Planet, which I think was given to him by Mike Tyson. There's a picture of him and Mike on the front of this book. It's free on Kindle Unlimited. There's a link in the description, or £4 if you've not got that. But really recommend it. Very good book. This was a brutal chain of events. It seems that there was a firm, as described in the book, who were running this sort of area protection on the pubs. Joe Egan wasn't keen to give in to giving any protection money. He felt that he could protect the pub himself. He crossed this guy and this crime family. I'm not sure whether the names he gives within the reading were real. I'm presuming they were sort of cover names for the real family, but I'm sure people can let me know. It states that they tried to take his license off him. Lots of stuff went on after that turnout. His pal went to jail, along with others, I think, quite a few bad injuries as well. So it was a really dangerous sort of day. And Joe and his pals, some boxers, ex-Foreign Legion, did some real damage to this firm, it sounds. And Joe himself got shot in the face, got a pellet to the face, and some other injuries. So yeah, I highly recommend that book. I just want to apologise for the sound quality at the moment. I've got some problems with my audio equipment. It's not, I don't know what settings I've put it on. I've got to get someone to the office just to have a look at it. So apologies for that. Plus, I've got a bit of a flu at the moment, what I've had for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, which makes it a little bit difficult. But hopefully you managed to get the gist of most of it, because I thought that was a nice little extract. Got some good uploads coming soon. I'm working on some non audio book readings, some stuff that I'm actually writing myself to do with certain historic events. So they're going to be interesting. So you can look forward to that. I've got a book that I'm writing as well. And as I said previously, the book that I'm writing, I'm going to, either on this channel or my other channel on YouTube, I shall read the chapters chapter by chapter before removing them at the end and publishing the book. So that's just for my subscribers. Okay, so that's it. Hope you're all well. And if you can hit the likes and subscribe if you've not done so already. Cheers.